Alright guys, so hi, by the way. So here's what happened. I received this computer. This needs to be restored, cleaned, installed with some kind of hard drive. But when I lifted it, I noticed that there was a weird noise coming from the case. A noise of like some kind of stuff inside that was moving around and hitting things. Initially I thought maybe one of the cards were not screwed, not installed properly in the slot, and so maybe during transportation it kind of detached and started moving around. But when I opened the computer, the worst possible scenario showed up. Guess what was that was making that noise? The CPU. The CPU is like the brain of the computer. And it was simply like this. I found it around on the motherboard instead of properly installed in the socket. Now this is a disaster. The CPU is like the brain of the computer, and as you can see it has a lot of tiny pins, and you can imagine, you can guess that with the CPU moving around in the computer, most of the pins were bent. And there was no way to put the CPU back in the socket. And I hope that by moving around, it didn't also damage other parts on the motherboard, some contacts, some other components. The weird thing was that the CPU was out of the socket, but this, the bar, was in locked position. Which is weird, because once the CPU is locked, in my opinion, there's no way that it can simply come off out of the socket just because of transportation. So in my opinion, the CPU wasn't installed properly in the first place, and that's why even if the bar was locked, it simply came off during transportation. Well, unless Schrödinger's cat was bored in the box waiting for its destiny to happen and its wave function to collapse, and maybe decided to quantum tunnel into my computer and play around with the CPU, but I don't think that's likely. I think it's more likely that the CPU wasn't installed properly. Anyway, so what to do with it? I had this devastated CPU, and what am I gonna do? I was in a rush. I didn't have any equipment with me. The first thing that I thought was to use some kind of like those tweezers that people use to like pull eyelashes and things like that. But I was afraid of using metal with these pins because these are very delicate, high quality material. They transmit the electric signals, and all the operations are processed through the CPU, so it needs to be a very clean signal, very stable. So I was afraid that by scratching this metal with another metal tool, it could have made the system unstable. And so what am I gonna do? How am I gonna straighten the pins and fix them? And that's when this tool came very handy. This is a pencil, the one where you can the thin graphite bars. Don't even know if the pronunciation is correct, sorry. And so, as you can see, the hole of the pencil perfectly matches the size of the pins. And it's plastic, so it's softer than metal, it's completely safe, and it's unable to scratch it. Now, as you can see, it fits perfectly. Now it's a little difficult with the phone in the other hand. Fits perfectly the pins, and with this it was possible to straighten all the pins. Now this CPU was literally chewed in the transportation by moving around. The pins were damaged, so it's a mess and I have to replace it. And I hope it will never happen to you. But if any time, maybe by handling improperly a CPU, you will bend one or two pins, you most likely already have a pencil like this at home, so you can quickly take it and easily and safely straighten the CPU pins using it. So I'm putting the CPU back, waiting to get a replacement, and I hope that you will never need to fix any bent pin on any CPU. This is the bar. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and all the best with your computers.